Hey everybody, Josh Lopresto, VP of Sales Engineering here at Telarus, back for another video with our engineering review as part of our Race to the Summit series, so appreciate you tuning in. And today I've got the pleasure of being joined with John Ost, the Senior Sales Engineer from Netfortris. John, thanks for being with us today, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump in. The purpose of these is that we get into the weeds, understand the platform, where it applies, situations where you've solved some problems and what those were, and we really get down into it. So I want to kick us off with, for anybody that's not familiar with Netfortris, talk to me a little bit about the history of Netfortris, how it's evolved and what that company looks like now.
Sure. So Netfortris started as just a small CLEC in California, Nevada type area. That was in the early to mid 90s. And then today they've grown to a nationwide network carrying MPLS, SD-WAN, hosted VoIP, and really every network component that would be needed for business to be able to conduct communications and have resiliency within their network.
Now, how about you personally, right? How long have you been with Netfortris? Anything you want to let people know? Because part of this is about our partners have the ability to bring you in, right? So this is about getting to know John as well. Maybe talk to us a little bit about how long you've been with Netfortris, kind of what you've done prior, anything that you think is relevant to that you want partners to know.
Sure. So I started my career in IT in general in 2000. I started out doing web design and desktop support, and then just elevated myself through the ranks to doing servers, data center installations, server management. And part of the unique thing I think about what I bring to our partners is I was a partner myself at one time. So I was able to be in their shoes, wear that hat, and know what they expect and what benefits them. When I left that, I came to the company Finality that Netfortris acquired and brought in-house to be their hosted VoIP solution.
Good. So you've got that's a good, I think partners appreciate that, right? Because, partner would appreciate it because you've been in their shoes. The customers appreciate some of that experience because you've been in their IT administrator role. So you're not just here pushing solutions, right? You know that pain, you know what they've been through. So you know how to help talk to that. I think that takes a unique skill set. So good. It's good to hear. So let's talk about it. I know we want to talk a little bit about the community platform. Talk to me about that platform, what it is, where it fits, and kind of your ideal profile for a customer with that.
Sure. So the community platform is really an evolution of the hosted VoIP solutions that we provided previously. So we've kind of taken a unique approach, especially in the back end, where we've re-engineered the entire concept of how these solutions are provided, utilizing technologies such as container systems, virtualization, SBCs, and then coring that behind Netfortris, MPLS, and nationwide network to provide the resiliency of failovers and being able to have redundancy within the network to provide the stabilization. From the customer's perspective and the user's perspective, we have brand new interfaces that can be accessed either through a web browser, application, and mobile app, and kind of converging them all into one that's graphically pleasing for them, easy to use, and very well adopted to the customer. For the admin side, we've re-engineered that display as well, again, making it very intuitive to be able to make changes to your users, your devices, your call centers. And as far as a customer that would fit into, so previously Netfortris, we were, location independent. We have offices in Seattle and Texas and LA, but then we have our workforce scattered throughout not just the United States, but the world. So we've kind of built that around our foundation to be able to have customers work from anywhere. So pre-2020, where that was, you could call a niche, but now that everybody's in that situation, I think we lend ourselves well to helping them go through this time and in the future be able to keep adapting to the way people work.
I like that, and you bring up a good point. we talked about remote work a little bit, obviously pre-COVID, but now that's the new foreseeable future with the mix that everybody's in. So I like that capability with the app from an IT administrator perspective to give them that control. What has the feedback been as you've gotten into these conversations from an IT admin perspective about the ability to see that and control that in their app, right? As you've come into some of these conversations, how are they doing it before, and how has having an app like that given them the visibility that they need? What has that conversation been like?
So a lot of it is people had, especially in the beginning, had to make that mental change from using their computer as their endpoint, having that their voice flow through the computer and establishing that in the mindset that this is my telephone. So one of the hurdles was, well, can we still use the desk phones? And under our solution, yeah, you can take that desk phone home, you can still plug it in, it's going to communicate back to our infrastructure, and you'll work just like you're at your desk. But then you have the people who were able to gravitate to the soft phone, be able to open up the application, use it as a phone, but then also have the flexibility to, well, I'm on the road or I can't be in front of my computer. Just open up the mobile app and you have that same functionality. And it goes beyond just voice. So you have the ability to instant message, share files, see conference rooms, call center managers. They can have their call centers working from home now and still see how are they performing, how many calls have they taken, how long are they spending on the calls, see if they logged in or out of their queues and how many calls they've taken, why they logged out of the queues. We have a specific reasoning selection when you log out, so then managers can then come in and see, how long were they in their shifts for, when did they log out, and why. Then we also have, typical call center and UCAS capability for barge monitor whisper. So someone needs help, they can always ask their manager from chat and say, hey, can you barge this call and help me out? Or the manager can just whisper and help them out as they go along.
So I want to talk about one of the things that we try to get into for this is differentiators. Our partners really like to understand if we have 5 people that do something similar, what is it that sets one apart from the other, right? And you personally have some great experience here that sets you apart as who can they bring in, who can they engage, right? Who's been in my shoes, who's been in the customer's shoes before. So that's a key differentiator. With regard to the platform, whether it be the community platform or anything else from a NetFortris perspective, what is it that you feel differentiates you when you're in those conversations and the customers are looking at other things? What do you say to that?
So the platform itself, the fact that it's grown in-house and it's evolved from a solution into this greater solution, and it being in its infancy, we're providing the features that customers would expect from us. And then it's going to continue to evolve from APIs that they can develop for and taking customer input, what they like, what they don't like, and be able to change that rather than being on a set system that would have to come from somebody else and what features get added. We're in control of all that. So that's a huge difference between us and other providers.
And that API, I think that API piece is key. Has work from home changed what people are asking about? Can you do this? Can you integrate with this? What have some of those API conversations been like? How beneficial has that been, having that as an option to say, yes, we can, right? We're not beholden to just these certain things.
So the conversation, I wouldn't say changed too much. People still want to see their CRMs do screen pops and do their click to dials and kind of minimize how much their users and employees currently have to interact with to be able to do their jobs. So those APIs are going to be released to developers where they can then work with their own tools and put into their own systems the features that benefit their employees. I think that's the strength of the APIs, and that's the direction we're taking with the APIs.
Good. Let's talk about where you've got some multiple platforms in there, right? How does each of those different platforms fit? I know we're talking a little bit about circuits, we're talking a little bit about SD-WAN and hosted. Talk to me about how each of those platforms fit.
Yeah, so, and even from my experience that we talked about before of being in partner shoes and customer shoes, probably the biggest disadvantage in IT is the finger pointing, right? So you're on your phone because you had a drop call with your hosted VoIP company. Well, then they direct it to your ISP or your network for your firewall. You have all these finger pointing. So under NetFortris, you come to us and we control all of that if that's what we're selected to do. So we'll provide your circuits. We'll be your contact to that ISP. So if something does happen, we'll be the ones to initiate contact. We can manage your firewalls, provide switching if you need to, set up your VLANs, and then the 24/7, 365 support behind all of that, we're able to provide as well, so that partners can be the point of contact, customers can be the point of contact, and we'll establish that hierarchy when we go through our onboarding phases.
And you bring up a good point. I do want to make sure that we cover the list, right, of all of your capabilities. So let me recap a little bit, and let me make sure that partners understand how you take some of these opportunities, what you'll take a la carte. Maybe it has to be this. If it includes this, then we'll take it. What is that? So obviously we're talking about circuits. That's an easy one. SD-WAN, the hosted voice, and you mentioned kind of switchers, routers, firewalls. Are we missing anything in that list of what some of the capabilities are of pieces of the equation that you can solve and fix?
Yeah, so there's the 4G aspect, so we can carry over that redundancy that if you have a primary circuit and you need to fail over your point of sale to a 4G solution, we can provide that as one example. Wi-Fi implementation, we can either do that utilizing our Fortinet catalog base or go more enterprise and deploy Meraki solutions.
Good.
Beyond just the circuits, also providing MPLS and private networks where they're going to fit. SD-WANs, we've seen take over a lot of that responsibility, but they're still out there and we'll still work with them.
Okay. And then from an SD-WAN perspective, Fortinet, any other SD-WAN solutions that you guys want to be working with?
So Fortinet is our selected manufacturer that we install the hardware for our firewalling and outside of SD-WAN networking capability. For SD-WAN itself, we've selected VeloCloud. Unique feature about us and that deployment is that we control the complete end-to-end solution. So we've purchased the gateways, the orchestrators, and we provide the edges that go out to the customer. And then it's all within our network still. So we'll have gateways around the globe and then be able to work with them to decide what their gateway selected are, where they want their referral route to be, what the best selected route is, and then also help them build out those business policies so that they can have their key business critical applications utilize the features of SD-WAN.
Good. We covered some good ground. With regard to all of those things, we covered the checkbox, I think, of all the capabilities. Now, with regard to rules of engagement, what's the policy internally of we'll do SD-WAN if it has circuits. We'll do SD-WAN by itself. We'll do Fortinets if it's just Fortinets and that's all we're doing, managed as a service. Is there any rule where, with all the things that we talked about, we have to have one to be able to bring you in for the other? Can we think of you just a la carte if any of those opportunities come up?
So a la carte and being able to be flexible with the partners and the customers on what the solution they need. If they just need a hosted VoIP solution, that's fine. We'll provide that. If they want to see what hosted VoIP with the SD-WAN is and they want to bring their own bandwidth to that's fine as well. We don't pigeonhole anyone to have one to do the other. We'll go over the top and we'll allow you to bring your own devices, bandwidth, and if it's infrastructure, then we'll work our solutions into that.
Love it. The flexibility I think you brought up, right? We always talk about these differentiators, but when you have a lot of those platforms like that, a lot of those components, the flexibility is key. Because what we've seen with you guys is that if we can get in with at least one solution, right? We get the question, who do we have that does this? And you guys are there to solve that one piece of it. We know that eventually you guys are going to prove yourself in that stack. And the customer says, hey, you know what? I know you're managing our Fortinets and we're doing that from a security perspective. We've been thinking about doing Velo from an SD-WAN. Can you guys help us with that, right? And it's the natural growth in the account. And partners love that growth, right? So that's been key with you guys. It's been good.
And also a topic along that would be we take a very co-management philosophy to a lot of our products. So hosted VoIP will give you partner access to our control panel so that you can see all your partners with your own login. Those customers themselves, they can log in and do their own adds, moves, and changes. And like I mentioned, 24/7, 365 support from our side. Same with the SD-WAN. The partner wants access to the orchestrator to provide their own managed services to their customer. We'll provide that access as well. And then that also leads into a conversation about pricing. We'll work with partners on pricing so that they can adjust it to make their margins and provide their services.
Good, love it. Even more flexible. Let's dive in. Let's take all of that we've talked about and any component of that that you had a great example with. I wanna pick on that. Right? What is an example? Talk to me about a scenario. And we don't have to give out names, obviously. If you want to give out industry and everything, whatever, that's fine. But just kind of the size of the opportunity, how you got into it, what they had before, and then how you solved their problem and what components you did that with.
Sure. So one of our largest hosted VoIP and UCaaS in the healthcare industry, they were on Finality on-premise servers. They then grew to a point where they needed the ability to have it be hosted. So we brought them into that fold. At that point in time, we had a conversation with them about what our community platform is. So they were very eager to get on there and be able to give us feedback on how that platform is going to evolve. It was great for us because then we were able to see thousands of endpoints deployed to this one customer, have different departments that are all going to use the system in different ways, and then be able to adjust the system and have it work for them, and then that replicates down to everybody else because it is such a large organization. They really don't have a piece that wouldn't fit into another category, another vertical. So that solution is what they're running on now. We're continually taking input from them on how it can be better, how it can be adjusted. So that they've been a great success story for us.
Good, love it. Love to hear, when people make their way into the thousands of seat deals, or that helps you learn a lot. I think as a company of how do we treat the SMB versus how do we treat the mid-market and the enterprise, and you learn a lot as you go into those deals. And I love that you guys take feedback from the customers to help improve it. That's a key component. The last I want to talk about, when we're in a deal, from your perspective, what is the anatomy of a deal? What is your process when a partner says, hey, I know you guys do one or two of these things. I've got an opportunity for that. Let's go have a discussion, right? What is your process in that? What's the anatomy of that for you guys?
Yeah, so our partners work with our channel managers, so they'll qualify the deal and make sure it works within our wheelhouse, that we can provide the solution with our means, and then they'll bring it to the sales engineering team, and we'll do our discovery calls. We'll collect the information that's needed. If we see a better fit where they're asking for just circuits and a failover, we can look at it and say, well, wouldn't you benefit more from SD-WAN? Or, we're using our phone system to, have operator, and, they have an old style system where they have sidecars lined up. Well, let's introduce you to our HUD display, show you how easy it is for them to drag and drop and search for availability to transfer calls. So it's really collecting the information, exposing them to what we can offer, and then suiting it to what the customer actually needs.
Cool. I love the thinking outside the box. That's the thing that I think helps set you guys apart, is that we're not just pigeonholed to this one scenario. Let's figure out what the business needs and let's propose the right solution, right? Even if they don't bite on it right away, I like that you think about, hey, that way's okay, but here's maybe a different way to do it. Have you thought about it this way? And that tends to lend itself well.
I would say SD-WAN is a good example of, us in the market, we're familiar with it by now. Partners will know what SD-WAN is, how it can benefit, but a lot of customers and even IT managers, they'll have heard of it, but they wouldn't have explored it yet. So being able to expose them to it, show the benefits of it as new technologies come out. That's just going to be a repetitive process that we're able to offer.
And good segue. I like to wrap these with talking about new technologies. So, we know that our partners are in deals that might be ready tomorrow. We might be talking to them about what you guys do, and that might inspire them. Oh, by the way, yeah, I have this customer that needs this right now, so I'm going to go talk to them. But as they're also in with customers, we know that they have different timelines and cycles of when equipment is going out and that type of thing. So as partners are in these deals, what's happening at NetFortris, would you say, over the next 6 to 12 months, right? I'm not asking you for the deep, dark secrets of the product roadmap, but what is it that you want people to be thinking about, maybe changes of products that are coming or new things you can talk about that are going to be happening over the next year or so?
I think the biggest highlight for us is going to be on that community platform as it continues to grow, and we take that feedback and put it back out into the product, opening up new CRMs, new way of interacting with CRMs. That's going to be our biggest highlight on the roadmap. There's obviously new technologies coming out, 5G, that's going to evolve. So we're going to be putting that into the catalog. So it's definitely going to be, we're definitely going to be keeping on top of the new technologies, but our core focus is going to be on exposing customers to that community platform.
Good stuff. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Excited to see those developments as they come out and they grow, and we'll make sure that when we can get them out and help our partners understand it. So, okay, that wraps us up for today. I've had the pleasure of being joined with John Ost, Senior Sales Engineer from NetFortris. John, appreciate you being here today. Thanks so much.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, everybody, wraps up another video. Thanks for watching these. It's part of the Race to the Summit series with the Engineering Deep Dive. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.